here to look through domain names. The Domain to Profit. I'm Drew Wash. Yesterday was Christmas, and I remember, like, when I was a kid, how devastating it was to, get all the packages and see the gifts under the tree. And then there's always that one secret gift that maybe you circled in the catalog or something and you wanted but didn't get. Then you get a little older and it's like, hey, I just got to make my own luck. I got to get my own gifts. And that's what we're here to do. This is Domain to Profit, where we are going to look through this week's expiring domain names. We do it live. Why? Mostly because I'm going to look through expiring domain names this week, whether you're with me or not. So why not do it together? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to look through expiring domain names, not just through the 100,000 plus domain names that are out there. Specifically, we are looking for the best of the best. These domain names that either fly under the radar, maybe people don't realize they're expiring, or the ones that are just so good that even if it costs you thousands, it is a domain name that can create an opportunity for you to create a great business for yourself, income, whatever it is you're looking to come out with. That is what we're here to do. So join me. We are going to, so one thing, this is a live show. So if you're watching on Restream, join us live Monday, 3 p.m. I get that some of you can't. Leave comments, talk with the others that are watching on Restream in the comments below, especially on YouTube, where our primary show is. Of course, we simulcast out to LinkedIn and Twitter as well, but you'll find most people over on YouTube. So if you're joining me on YouTube right now, make sure you say hi. Let others know you're here. This is Domain to Profit. We're going to get going.
From domain to profit, from a .com to a business idea. Take a domain name, develop an income from domain to profit. We'll show you how. Domain to profit, from domain to profit. Join Drew Wash and get started right now.
Okay. See, let me see. Entrepreneur names popping in, saying hi to Mike, as well as to a few others. I appreciate y'all. It's not really. I'm just the guy on the camera. Realistically, I know there's many of us out there looking through. Bill, nice to have you here on the 26th. It's, a lot of people take today off. This is all I'm doing. I'm doing this show and I'm going back home. So. I'm taking the day off too. Ian, nice to have you here as well. Merry Christmas to everybody. And whoop, whoop, indeed. Chaz taking the day off, but cheering me on from remote. I'm glad to have you here, Chaz. And there we go. Entrepreneur names again. So essentially, we're going to look to expiring domain names. How do you do that? Well, you may know, we use a tool called expireddomains.net, which is this here right behind me, expireddomains.net. It's free. You should set it up. It's free. If you can find, this is the top tool for looking through the hundreds of thousands of domain names that are expiring. Top tool, and it's free. Go for it. So how do they make their money? Because nothing's for free. Well, they make their money when you click on the domain name. They get an affiliate commission. It costs you nothing more. So I just encourage you to support them by clicking the links. That's what we do for sure. So as we get kind of going in, one of the things I wanted to talk about was Enum domain names. Enum domain names. You'll hear me say often here on the show, as we see Enum domains, let me kind of get one up on the screen here possibly for you. Let's see, we have gymmate.com up there is an Enum domain name. So that just means that the domain name is registered through Enum, and I'm typically very negative on Enum domains. Why? Mostly because they're a big waste of your time and my time if we talk about them on the show. What I have found, though, and what I've been researching over the last week is maybe they're not as bad as what I've thought. And, so I've been doing a little bit of research. So let me go over to my GoDaddy account here. And what you'll see is I've been rather active over the last week looking through and buying domain names, especially these domain names here. You can see that I have all these domains that are buyout domains. I bought them for $50, $30, $11. One thing that you'll don't know behind the scenes, these are all enom domain names. I was buying them at buy now. So the way that the domain name expiration process works, if you buy a domain name, if a domain name is expiring, it comes up to the auction, which is what we look to on expireddomains.net. And if you bid on the auction and you're the highest bidder, you can win. A lot of times I'm saying, hey, if it's an enom domain name, wait till the last possible minute to bid, which is true. A lot of them get pulled back. That is still the case. A lot of enom domain names get pulled back. However, the question is if the domain name ends, if the auction ends, are you still likely to get that domain name? I believed no, but I'm testing that theory, and I'm testing it with this domain name here, tirechange.com, which you'll see we purchased or won the auction for $910 up there. So not often that we start with a domain name that we purchased last week, but that's exactly what we're doing. Tirechange.com was an enom domain name. We briefly discussed it on the show just because I like the domain name so much. Wasn't all that enthusiastic about it. Well, because it was an enom domain name, enom being the registrar. So I did not expect to get this domain name. As of today, I've still not received it into my account, but I believe I'm going to get the domain name. As I research it and so on, it does look like it's going to make it to me. So thinking after I purchased that domain name that hey, enom it's maybe a scam or something like to where they don't actually ever make it to your account, which is what I've felt like my experience has been. Well, I wanted to test that theory. So I purchased all these other domain names at a buy now. So that means after the auction ended, no one bid. That's what a buy now domain name over on GoDaddy is. No one bid on those domain names, which in that case, it goes to the first person that pays for that domain name. Starts at $50, $40, $30, $11, $5, and so on. It counts down over the course of a couple days. In my theory, or what I wanted to test was, would I get the enom domain names if I purchased them with the buy now price? And so far, as you can see, I purchased quite a few. I think it was 11 or 12 domain names here, some of which are really good domain names, investment-wise, not so much for development-wise, but a few $100s to test something that I've talked about and been negative about on the show. Figure, why not? Let's test it out. Let's see how it goes. Those domain names have hit my account. They have hit my account. They indeed, even though they're enom, they are hitting my account. So we're going to start to include enom domain names, assuming they're within the last couple of days of the auction. So I just wanted to mention that because that's kind of a change about what we're doing here on the show. I've been very negative on enom domains, and that's going to change. You'll notice that starting today. I won't always look at them, but I'm going to give them a fair shake. I still believe that a lot of them are going to get pulled. That's why I'm not going to put a bunch of time onto them. But, you live, you learn. So, Jeffrey, Hugh, see you both popping in. Nice to have you. Thanks for commenting. So what we are going to do here, I have used my Save Search. That is what has produced the list behind me over on expireddomains.net. You have to set up a free account to make it, to use the dark mode to set up Save Searches. We go to Marketplace, then GoDaddy, Expired Domains. Then we use our filters, which we set up to get rid of hyphens, get rid of numbers, look at English words, 1 to 3 words total, and .com domain names expiring within the next week. That is what creates this list. That takes us from well over 100,000 domain names down to 92,000 domains. You'll see that right up here. So out of those 92,000 domains, we're going to just look at the top 200 to 400 domain names. These are going to, how do we decide which ones are the top 200 to 400 domains? Well, we are using valuation, which is right over here on GoDaddy's appraisal. Basically, they assign that value. The number, as far as how much a domain name is worth, as far as valuation, that number is garbage. But it does help us to bring the best domain names to the top of the list. So as we run our filters, we click on valuation, bringing the top ones to the top of the list, and here we go. Let's go and start the process. And yeah, Hugh mentioned out there that he's hoping that I get tirechange.com, which me too. As the guy that owns towing.com, I think tirechange.com is a great domain name. We looked at it a little bit last Monday. By itself, a few hundred searches for tire change, but tire change near me, which is exactly what I like to look for on a towing related or local service related domain names. Tire change near me, over 20,000 searches, which is great. So I'm pretty happy with that domain name. I look forward to getting it. So auto safety, I saw before the show. I added that to my watch list. I'm not sure if it's actually going to be worth a darn, but we are going to look into it real quick. It has my attention, as do many things that are vehicle, transportation, logistics, mostly just because that is my area that I know about. I know those industries pretty well. So auto safety is going to be searched for. I just don't know if it's going to be a money word or money phrase. Let's find out. 220 monthly searches, so not a whole lot happening for it. But you'll see over here, let's go ahead and do our Control F. So we'll highlight it, Control F, and that's going to look for our phrase. So what we've done is we've taken the domain name, autosafety.com. We toss out the .com. Hey, it's .com. We know it's the best extension, so we don't need to worry about it. We look at the keywords, auto safety, toss them into SpyFu, which is the tool we're using here, and we'll see the keyword itself, 220 searches. And for similar kit, auto safety kit, boom, 660. Auto safety blog, not so much. People looking for content. Auto safety inspections near me. I like a couple words that are near me. That looks like localization. That means searching for a local area, which is a nice value generating thing we can do on a domain name. But what I'm looking for here, though, is there any money? My thought was there wouldn't be any money related to it, and that seems to be the case. You see over here, cost per click. I like to see that $2 or higher cost per click. Of course, it's 82 cents, but even worse, the worst part about it not being $2 is this right here. The number of advertisers is 0. There's nobody really paying that money. So the people that try out the keyword, try it out for very briefly and then move on. So it's not a great money domain name. If you're like me and you're dealing vehicle stuff, it sounds pretty good, but $1,200 already, ends tomorrow. I'm not sure if I'll go any higher than that. I'm currently not the high bidder. I don't know if I'll bid on it or not. I don't know. I'm not sure what would tip me over that line. It'd probably be helpful to share that with you if I had something. I mean, I'll probably go maybe $1,500, $1,600. Do not expect to win this domain name though. And that would just be because I feel like it's an opportunity to get a domain name in my main area of influence. Not something it's not going to make money, right? Not going to make money. So if you're going to invest, make sure you're spending on the right domain names. Okay, moving on. Bargain shop. Anybody feeling that? Anybody? I'm not really loving it. BitBanking. Okay, one page at a time. This is pretty much what we got. We got gymmate.com. We've had that for another week. I'm not going to spend much time on it. It is an enom domain, but I'm not going to hold that against it necessarily. Just not a huge fan of talking about it anymore than what we already have. uquote.com. This is just an opportunity for me to kind of mention. A lot of people like you in a domain name. It looks good. The only thing is I much prefer my quote, .com would be a better one. So for example, mytoystore.com, you see that right there. And that's just a marketing thing. So you, in language that you put in your marketing copy, it is you focused, you. But when you use a domain name, somebody's typing it in, you want them to take possession. So you want it to be my. So that's just my expertise or professional opinion on it. I like my in a domain name versus you. Airbrush tanning. I don't really feel like that's anything, but let's go check it out. Peter, nice to see you pop on. Merry Christmas to you as well. Hugh, yeah, I'm hoping I'll get that the domain name. I really am. L Couch, see you popping in. Only an Acre as well. Nice to have you all here. Hope your holidays are going well. This is traditionally my week where I work on random stuff. I've tiled bathroom floors, tiled walls, all kinds. Tile for some reason is a common theme. Maybe we'll go looking for a tile-related domain name after this. 1 hour left on airbrushtanning.com, so we better get a move on to see if it's worth a darn. I don't know if this is a real thing. It's certainly not my arena, but that doesn't mean, I think airbrush is one word, airbrush tanning. Okay, 400 monthly searches, airbrush spray tan near me. Let's go ahead and do a look at Control F. Okay, so it does show up. Airbrush tanning near me. Let's move that up here. You'll see we got some bonus search impressions here. Airbrush training or tanning near me. That means localization, so that's good. That's what we want to see. Like, that's people looking for this service around them, so we can count on targeting that with our domain name development option. Are you naked during airbrush tanning? Interesting. Okay. Not sure what everybody's looking for there, but another 900 searches. So what are you going to put on airbrushtanning.com? I have no idea. I've certainly never airbrush tanned. Look at me. I'm pasty white. Not really my thing. But, you know, what are you going to put on that domain name? Well, you're going to put these over here. You're going to answer these questions. So if you're buying a domain name, not sure what to put on it, we use this third column over here, which are the questions that people are typing into the browser or into Google. Are you naked during airbrush tanning? People evidently really want to know that. How does sunless airbrush tanning work? What is airbrush tanning, and so on. You don't have to answer these questions. You just need to create a way for your visitors and the companies advertising on your site to answer those questions. Let's see if there's any money in it. Well, we got part of the solution. We got $2.05 as the cost per click. Advertisers is $0. Not sure if that is, if I was going to look at bidding on this domain name, which I'm likely not, like I said, it's not my thing, but it might be yours. What I would want to do is see, okay, there's nobody bidding, there's no advertisers for this specific keyword, but are there advertisers under airbrush tanning near me and so on? Like, are there people paying for other keywords that contain our domain name? I dive in a little bit. Let's see here, $361 currently, ends in an hour. Based on the numbers that we were seeing, in theory, you could bid $400 to $800, develop out that domain name, and be well within the range of a domain developer's price for a domain. It is a little bit of a long domain, so that's one of the reasons why I'd probably skip over on that. But who knows? If you're one of the people that always have like a ton of spray on tan stuff, what are the tannies or what? Anyhow, if you're into that lifestyle, then maybe that domain name's for you. I am not, therefore I am not interested. Trust planning. Again, I don't know if this is actually a thing, but I'm going to look. So this one ends in 7 days, $560 currently. This sounds like an actual thing. It gets into that legal space. Okay, maybe it's not a thing. Okay. If you're looking at a domain name in an area that you're not familiar with, you have to do the research. That's why we use a tool like SpyFu to research this stuff. So I did a Control F, trying to highlight the other places where trust planning work. Nothing there. There's nothing highlighting really. There's one advertiser. Now, that's not horrible. So the cost per click, $5. So that's one of the things is these legal keywords, a lot of times, the cost per click's higher than usual, but you'll find a lot of, I've heard and I've seen, there's not a lot of lawyers that do the paying for advertising thing. So you'll see one advertiser, so paying a lot, but not really worth much. I don't know. If it's your thing, if you're into legal saying, it seems like a great domain name, but for me, it looks like a pain in the booty. Pain in the booty. So we're moving on. Let's see. Ends in 7 days, 560. Yeah. So this is this week between Christmas and New Year's is always one that I hopefully you do as well. I spent a lot of time like looking back at this last year and then thinking about next year. You know, what do I want to accomplish next year? What did I set out to do this year but not do? One of the things I've noticed is you can learn a lot about yourself based on what you set out to do but did not do. Like it sounds in theory like it's something you want to do, but if you didn't do it, realistically, well, there's a reason. There's a reason you have not. And look in those areas and figure out why. What did you spend your time on instead? Can you do something more in that space? Like stop trying to torture yourself into doing something you don't want to do. Weddingbusiness.com, I'm not a big fan of the domain name or that kind of industry. But as you likely know, I've bought a ton of domain names in the wedding industry, even though I am not a big fan of it. So here you go. 135 searches. Let's do a Control F to see where else our domain name pops up. Wedding Business Marketing, Wedding Business Card. I'm not sure what that would be. We do have some money behind it, so that's pretty nice. $3.70 per click. Advertisers $3. So there are some people paying for this. I'm guessing business coaches and so on. As we saw in a couple of weeks ago, we picked up like a wedding conference or something.com. There are wedding all over the place. There's different wedding trade shows and things. There is big wedding business. So not sure if owning the domain name Wedding Business is part of that or not. That would be one of the things I'm hesitant about it is you may be in the wedding business industry, but do you really care about owning weddingbusiness.com? I don't know. It's almost more of it sounds good, so let's run it through our test. You know, we look for domain names that they validate, they give you access to an industry, and they give you authority in that industry. Wedding business, you call up somebody in the wedding industry and you're like, hey, I'm Drew, I own weddingbusiness.com. I wanted to, does that get you past the gatekeeper? Does that get you to the person that makes the decisions? I don't know if it does or not. It sounds like a magazine title maybe. So maybe it's a blog, training program, or certainly options you can do with it. $30, not bad. Ends in 6 days, $30 currently. And the numbers for it, let's see, 135. We had some money behind it. Probably $300 I could see going on that domain name. Unless you're gung-ho in that industry, then sky's the limit. So weddingbusiness.com. Yeah, Hugh was adding in when we had the trust planning, estate planning would be way better. I'm guessing that is the case. So thank you for that, Hugh, in the chat. Auto resale, that's probably a pretty darn good domain name. It's an enom one. So what I told myself I'm going to do with enom domains, that one is 5 days away. So I don't want to spend time on them if they're too far out there, mostly because they get pulled back on that third to second day. So I'm still not going to talk about them much, is really what it comes down to. But go research out, practice, autoresale.com. I'm guessing it's going to have a few hundred searches, might have some money behind it. Booyah. That's the kind of domain name I'm going to bid on. I just don't want to go researching it here with you. or I would bid on it. MyUrgentCare.com seems like a pretty good domain name. That seems like a file type software maybe thing. Am I getting real thoughts out of my mouth into the world? I don't feel like I'm speaking in half thoughts. Everything search. Jeffrey's asking if I could explain SpyFu arrives at its month volume count. The short answer on that is I can mention it a little bit when we pull up SpyFu on the next one. They do their own thing. Like, let me just show you this. If you put a highlight over this, it will talk you. It tells you about what they do, like how they come up with that number a little bit. The main thing is it's not the same as the search volume. So I'll tell more about that as we get into the next domain name. The key thing is that they're trying to get you a better name, a better number, a number that may be more realistic. And that is helpful because you'll find other tools will just tell you the Google search data and not take into consideration factors that make that search data pointless. Let's find a domain name. Full stack designer. I'm not sure if that's a full stack. Full stack would be somebody that's database to design. I don't think it actually makes sticky things. That's kind of fun. Film Garage. Okay, looks like we're about 200 domain names in. Not really seeing. There are some there. If you see something that I am passing up on, you can feel free to ask me about it. But for the most part, I skip domain names that a lot of these seem close. They're like almost good enough to talk about. That's where you're going to waste a lot of money, is if you spend money on domains that are almost good enough, which actually a lot of those domain names I bought at the buy now prices, they're almost good enough domain names. I wanted to get 10 of them. I was going to see okay, I bought 10 and only this many made it to my account. Then it turns out that I bought 10 and all of them made it to my account. So it's okay, well, maybe I'll cut some slack to Enom and start to actually talk about their domain names. Maybe. Okay, now we got to find some domain names here. Oh, man. USA Robotics. I'm pretty sure it's a company name, so probably don't want to mess with that. Beach Beauty. Beaches Beauty. Man, these are, we've really started to get into some weird domain names. And let's look at this. Okay, I must have clicked on something funny. Okay, yep, I did. I'm like, these domains suck. What's going on? I must have clicked on valuation and got it to reorder. So let me go to page 2 now that I've fixed that. Okay. So key thing is if you noticed, sorry I didn't show it on the screen, the valuation column was all over the place and the domain names are garbage, which was showing up pretty easily. Usually they're domains that are close to being good, even if they're not. Hover effects, that we use that in design for when you hover over something. Probably no money there necessarily. Could possibly get traffic or blog or show off hover effects, but secret arrangements. Manageconstruction.com. Sounds like a reasonable SaaS type thing. Build some software that manages the construction process. Not something I would be interested in at all, but I don't know those. If you're going to build SaaS, you need to know the industry, which if you know an industry, one of the things that we've done before is we created software to run a business, and then you can take that software and for a monthly fee, let other people use the software you've created to do yourself. It's exactly what we'll eventually do with Develop It, where we're creating software that allows us to develop our domain names, and we will work to create that to where you can develop your domain name with our software. So that's the exact playbook. What do I need? What do we need to develop our business? Well, we create it, we test it, we make sure it works for us. We keep in mind the idea that we're going to open this up to other people, and then phase 3 or something would be opening it up to where others can use it. It's just kind of just a bonus way to make revenue off of the work that you're already doing. Hey, Peter, if you're still with me, it's like Peter Cash. How about that? Start your own crypto coin. Kidding. Okay, come on. Give us a good domain name. These are really bad. This is week 2 and second week in a row. I might have to go and move over to, so 30 minutes in. I'm completely open to ending things early as well. I'm going to kind of speed up my scrolling here. I want to get to where we are. Actually, I have something to talk about. Shop booth, daily ready. Wow. Okay. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just scrolling back up. I'm going to spend some time. I'm going to go over, let's go look at Dropcatch and some of these other domain auctions. And then we can go search. I mentioned I'd do a tile, search for like a tile domain name just because it's how I spend my week a lot of times. So what I've done now is I went over to the Marketplace domain tab and then clicked on Dropcatch, which I believe is right over here. Dropcatch is a service that will let you back order domain names, and if you're the only one that back ordered it, you get the domain name. If multiples did, then it goes up to auction, and they sometimes get some good ones. Let's see what we have here. We'll just look at the first few dozen. Now, the downside of Dropcatch is mostly domain people know about it, so you end up a lot of times paying more for a domain name than what you should. Yeah, I'm not seeing much. I mean, a couple of these are tolerable. Let's see here. Like some of these are going for, what, $650 for oneretail.com. Oh, here we go. Let's order by price. Let's see what do we got here? We got supergrid.com for $1,600 currently. Copy editing, which isn't horrible. Copywriting would be, of course, worth a lot. Copy editing has 66 bids, $1,200. Not really interested in it myself, though. Okay. Let's see here. Let's go. So now we'll take a chance. We're going to go over to Pending Delete, and we're going to dive into filters. We're going to look for domain names by industry specifically. What am I talking about? Well, we're going to open up filters. You can get a look at the filters that we were setting up for the show, which is the no numbers, no hyphens, English words right here behind me. We do English 1 to 3 words behind my head. Then we only set it up to look for 1 day. And then the second tab, which is additional, allows you, that's where all the way over there is where you'll find .com. It's the only thing checked on this screen right here. .com is what we're looking for. which if you include all the other ones, you're going to have a giant list. So right now there's 157,000 domain names meeting our criteria that are going to be expiring over the next week. So look at it this way. We a lot of times we only look at the GoDaddy auctions, and I'm sure many of you have thought, okay, Drew, why do you only look at the GoDaddy auctions when there's so many other ones? Well, out of all the pending delete domain names, over 90,000 of them were over on GoDaddy. So 157,000 are all of them. So basically, GoDaddy covers a decent amount of it, especially for this show. Okay, what's tile? We're going to just go in here. So one of the things you can do with the filters that expired domains have are immense. I don't even know how they do this, and I'm a computer geek. I dig into, I know databases, I know programming, know all kinds of stuff. The responsiveness that they're able to search through hundreds of thousands of records, I don't know how they do it. It's pretty impressive. So we're going to apply the filter. So now we're going to look for a domain name that has the word tile in it, tile, T-I-L-E. And that's just because I was being silly. And I mentioned that I spend a lot of times this week between Christmas and New Year's, I'll do a tile project, or I have in the past, just for silly. Just for sport. Tile sport. See, get it? Okay, maybe not. Okay. Not all of them can be great, guys and gals. Okay, let's see here. So one of the nice things about using a keyword search is you know what you're interested in, you know the industries that you're dealing in. Set up keyword searches. Look for domain names in the industries that you already have an interest, passion, expertise in. If you leave it wide open, you're going to fall for buying domain names in industries that don't matter. So in this case, I don't know much about tile. Border tile sounds like a thing, maybe. So I am just kind of looking over this for something nice and small and not really seeing much of anything. So one of the things, as you can see, like textile is a lot of these domains have, or reptile, they have other words as part of them. You can go back up to your filters and you can say it does not contain textile. So essentially what that's going to do is it's going to get rid of all the ones where tile is part of textile. So it makes sense. Just one of the nice ways you can just clean up your list more and more and more. If you see, for example, SaveTheReptiles.com, we don't want to mess with the reptiles, or maybe you do, not sure. But in my case, I don't want to. I'm going to get rid of reptile. And I believe comma delimited works in this, taking us from 114 domains down to 140. Not sure how that happened, but the nice thing is they should only be tile domains. That was weird. How getting rid of some creates, so Gentile, we can get rid of that one if we wanted to. Tall tile, see that? Like I could see that being a category. That may have searches, talltile.com, tile installer, Miami. So how do you order these lists? These lists do not have valuation because they're not GoDaddy lists. So one of the things that you can do, and that I encourage you to, is you can order by this column here, the registrars, or the number of top-level domains that have been registered, .com, are what we're looking at. So it's saying that there's, for example, this top one, sugartextiles.com, or Sagar Textiles. There's 4 other extensions that it's registered in, like .net, .info, .org. That's one way to kind of see what domain names or what words matter the most. If people are registering them in other extensions, like .net, .info, then .com would be more valuable. But another way to do it is looking at the cost per click. which is this column on the far side right now. Cost per click is something you have to turn on through GoDaddy ads in the column manager, which is, I believe it's hard to see. I don't know if you can see that in the far upper corner. Column manager allows you to turn on Google ads, which gives you cost per click numbers. You cannot purchase based on these alone, but it is kind of helpful. So by doing that, it brings some good domain names to the top of the list. Tile Installer Miami, that is one of the things that you'll find is that the highest cost per click happens for domain names that are localized. It's kind of a trap. Don't buy those domain names, in my opinion, unless you're just wanting to spend a bunch of money. Tile Floor Contractor, that's not bad. Let's go look at it. That's actually over on GoDaddy, or going to be over on GoDaddy. So I'm going to open up a new window for GoDaddy Marketplace. And that did not work. Or did it? So now I am looking at the tile. I pulled up GoDaddy, expired auctions, show filters, and what were we looking at? Tile contractors. Did I mess everything up? I probably did. Tile. Yeah, I messed up stuff. The question is it worth going back and trying to fix textile, reptile, still gotten rid of, even though I see them in the filters here. A rectile, see, it should be getting rid of textile. I'm not sure why it's not. I broke something here, I think, in... Okay, so contractor is not showing up yet, so it must be too far out, I think. I'm not sure what's up with that. Tile floor contractor, GoDaddy, ends in 4 days. What's up with that? What's up? I don't get that. I'm not sure what's going on with that. Tile floor contractor. It seems that would be within the expired domain. Okay. Well, anyhow, you can add a back order on that domain name and try to grab it. I'm confused. Yeah. See, it's like I want to go diving into it because it's not a bad domain name. The only thing is, even though it's showing GoDaddy, it's not showing up under GoDaddy auction. So I'm wondering if the end date is when it will come up for auction, or because it's pending delete, so it's not deleted yet. And the domain names we see over here, the domain names we see on the expired auctions have actually deleted. So, well, let's go looking at it. At least we can research the industry, and I can answer Jeffrey's question. So one of the things that Jeffrey asked was explaining the monthly search volume that we have here on SpyFu. So what I did, drop off the .com, we are looking at tilefloorcontractor.com, the keyword. And here you'll see it says that monthly searches are less than 20. What this is saying is down here under the Google provided data, Google provides the information on a specific keyword. In this case, it's saying that there's 320 searches for this keyword. One advertiser, $3.20. So it's not a bad little keyword. Now, I do say that the more words you have in a domain name, the less all this matters. I like to have 2 words or less. 3 words gets a little confusing. Anyhow, long story short, it's still not a bad domain name. But how do you go from the 320 searches that Google reports down to the less than 20? Well, that is where Google comes in. SpyFu, what they are doing is they are taking the number that Google provided and they are looking at the results that Google provides and saying, okay, well, here's what we'll do. Let's go do a search for this. So when we Google for tile floor contractor, we're going to have ads at the top, and then we have this, the location ads. These are all the local companies. Then they have the questions. And And then we're finally getting down to the actual results here. So we did a search for tile floor contractor, and we had to scroll quite a ways just to get down to the natural results. So what SpyFu does is they say, hey, if you build a website on tile floor contractor and you do a great job and you rank in the search engines, realistically, 320 searches, of those searches, most people are going to click on these the ads and the local contractors or the questions, and only less than 20 of them are ever going to come and find you in the natural rankings. So that's exactly what, that's what it's saying. It's basically saying 320 doesn't mean anything. You're really only going to get less than 20. So kind of perk up when that happens. Nice thing is we can use that against them and look at this and say, okay, well, how many other keywords? That's why we do the Control F. Tile floor contractors near me, 135 searches for that. And let me see, tile floor contractors in the Anderson, Indiana area. Interesting. But you can target other keywords with it. But that's how they do it. They're just saying, hey, there's a lot of stuff above the natural rankings that's going to get rid of. So they get rid of them. So there you go. That's what they're doing with it. And for you as a domain name owner, if we're buying these domain names, it doesn't matter if there's a ton of people searching for it. What matters are the number of people we have in the pool of people that might be able to come to our site. So as a market, that big number at the bottom of the page that Google provides, that's your overall market. But realistically, you only have access to less than 20 of them through search engine optimization, which we want to know that for the purpose of buying a domain name. So let me look here. Let me just show you kind of a good example using the industry that pays the bills around here, towing. So towing provided by Google. So this is like Google is saying, hey, 165,000 people are searching. There's 165,000 searches for the keyword towing on Google. And you're like, awesome, Drew, you're like baking it. Well, here's what I can tell you. This actually seems a little low, but you can see over there, SpyFu is saying, oh, whoa, it's not 165,000 searches. It's actually 10,000 searches that are available to hand traffic off to our website. And it's a little higher than that. But if you do a search for towing, for example, on Google, you're going to find, well, actually, I'm a little surprised by this. Usually there's a bunch of ads at the top, and then there's the map pack, which is all this here. Basically, Google is saying that in most cases, you will, like the visitors to the site are going to be clicking on something before they ever actually get to the search engine results, which right now, here's some towing.com stuff down here. So it's nice that we rank well. We rank in the top 10 for a lot of stuff, but it doesn't really matter because realistically, Google buries us. And that's what they're trying to like mention on SpyFu. Anyhow, I appreciate that they do it, which is why I mention it here on the show. Okay. Well, I think on that note, I'm not really seeing a bunch of domains that I'm wanting to dive into. So I think for the most part, how's everybody doing? Like, let me know if there's anything you want me to look into. Otherwise, I'm probably just going to call it a day. Let's see here. What other stuff do we do in a house that we might... we could go for let's go in a domain name that ends in service. We'll get rid of these keywords. We will drop this down to, so now I'm just playing with the search. So play with the search features, play with the filtering features. They are so freaking good. Like this is why you use this free service. The filters are better than anything else that's out there. So what I just did was I am looking at pending delete domain names that end in service. Got rid of all and I took it down to 2 words. So it's going to be 1 word, service. So I'm just diving right in. Periscope service. stability service. And again, these are, nothing may show up. It may not even matter, but what we're able to do is really quickly look at different keywords. So a lot of those are middle of the road domains. It's kind of interesting. Like they almost get a click. They almost get my interest. But you can do that same thing under GoDaddy expired domains. Same thing, boom. Anything you want to set up, Hades service, funerary, not sure what that is. Constituent service, ceramic service. You can look at adding a service or services. That might be an interesting, translate services. Boom. So that's a pretty good one to find some domain names with service. Try it with company at the end. Different keywords at the end of the domain. Play with them. Know what industries you work in. Do a saved search. I was just talking to Matt, who watches and helps me out with the show sometimes, tech-wise. He's one of my coders, about setting up saved searches. These are such a huge feature on expireddomains.net. It's so amazingly lets you do this. Like, you can save your search, and if I'm looking for a GoDaddy, have a saved search that looks at cannabis, the typing in the keywords, and boom, now I can see what the domain names that have cannabis in them are, and I can pop down to this list and give it an eyeball each week. And then if you want to take it one step further, you can go and view your managed saved services. So click on saved services and then manage saved services. And if you can see this here, what they allow you to do is if you use these often, you can just use the option to say only the new domain names. Show me only the domain names. It's keeping track of the domain names you've already looked at, and it's only showing you new domain names for that search. So if I'm in here often, which I'm not, but let's see, like it's going to show me, for example, towing. These are only the towing domain names that I've not seen yet. So now I can come through here, search for them, see what's there. If I like them, I go with them. Otherwise, next time I come back and click on that, it's not going to show these domain names. I mean, free service. I'm like a salesperson for this free site. So that's, but hey, good stuff's good stuff. So yes, as Bill mentioned, don't forget to like and subscribe. I appreciate it. I work for likes. I work for subscribes. I mean, not necessarily, but you know, I do appreciate the love in the version of or form of like and subscribe. It's part of why I do this. So, well, on that note, what do we think? I think we're going to wrap it up. You know, day after Christmas. I think ending a little early makes sense. So I do plan on being back here January 1st. So New Year's Day, I plan on being here doing a live show next Monday. I'm pretty sure about that. So it might be a modified show. I will be up late New Year's Eve. I might come in here in my pajamas or whatever else. Who knows? But New Year's Eve is one of my favorite days of the year. Me, friends, family all come together and hang out and play games, and it's a great time. So yeah, it's a good time, and it's the bookend of this year, which it has been a up and down crazy year for me and family and business. So I'm ready to just be like, breathe out. Let's get going at it again next year. So I will see you on the 1st as we do Domain to Profit and start to look at what next week's and what next year's, the first look at next year's domains have in store for us. I wish you a great, happy new year. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for being part of the Domain to Profit community. I do very much appreciate you joining me here in this little, what I love, just looking through expired domain names, taking them and turning them opportunities. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for making 2022 an amazing year. As 126 weeks that we've been doing the show. Thanks for that. Next week, as we go to do it, it'll be week 1 of 2023. So, wow, 127 weeks. That's crazy. I don't do much. I'm not that big of a commitment, guys. So, anyhow, thanks for joining me. I will see you next week. Drew Wash, Domain Week.